So the depravity of the Trump administration is continuing, and it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. So this thing that I just like to refer to as honeypotting is becoming more and more common. It's where you will take, say, someone like Mosa Madawi, who is a permanent green card holder, who was in the process of getting his U.S. citizenship, be it like a situation where like that, where they call him and say, "Hey, you were going to do your final interview for your U.S. citizenship. Can you come to the courthouse or immigration office, wherever it takes place, on this day at this time?" So he shows up, and guess what? He gets arrested by ICE. And we're just hearing more and more cases of that. And here is another one. New York City public school student detained by ICE at asylum hearing. Let's read. A Bronx high school student from Venezuela was detained by federal immigration officials last week following a court appearance for his asylum case. It's the first known case of New York City public school student being arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. NYC public school student subject to expedited removal, feds say. It's a high school student who was trying to do the legal thing and get his asylum status. And you arrest him at his fucking hearing. And we've already heard, like I said, plenty of cases of this. We've had ICE waiting outside of these courtrooms, and as soon as like they finish their hearing, whether they were approved or not, they'll just abduct them and take them away and deport them. At best, to your home country. At worst, CCOT or South Sudan or Libya. Like, depraved. Dylan, a 20-year-old Ellis Prep high school student, showed up at federal immigration court in Lower Manhattan on May 21st for a hearing on his request for asylum and was then arrested. He has no criminal record. His attorney said he entered the country legally under policies that were in effect under Biden. So yeah, he was here legally, and you don't have to like the method, but that was the method, and that was legal. Okay, like it's as clear as that. This isn't some illegal. This is someone who came here legally and was still going through the correct process, showing up to his immigration hearings or his court hearings and what have you. And you arrest him. This shit is so depraved. Like, I am almost at a loss for words. And there's always going to be hogs in my comment section that are like, shouldn't have came here then. Shouldn't have came here illegally, even though he came here legally. Or just, fuck them. I don't care where they send them. Send them to CCOT. Send them to South Sudan. Don't come here. Like, it's so dangerous that the Trump administration has managed to convince like half the country that these people just aren't human. That they aren't people. They don't get constitutional protected. They don't get constitutional rights. They're not people. I don't know if you know this. You probably don't if you are a Republican. The Constitution applies to everyone. Everyone. Illegal, legal, whatever. Tourist. That is the entire point of the Constitution. All persons. All persons. Okay. Dylan entered the United States with permission to seek asylum, and his detention robs him of the opportunity to seek that relief with the full protections offered to him under the law, said a spokesperson for the New York Legal Assistance Group. And I have to bring this up. This is at the time we are accepting white South Afrikaners. We're accepting them as refugees. South Africa has a high crime rate, but like, it's nowhere close to Venezuela. Venezuela is number one. Haiti, another place where we're revoking and trying to send people back. That's not even a state anymore. It's literally a failed state. There is no government. It's in gang control. But no, we can take white South Afrikaners from South Africa. Okay. ICE disputes that, saying in a statement that Dylan is an illegal alien from Venezuela who illegally entered the U.S. more than 1 year ago. Under the Biden administration, he was encountered at the border and released into the country. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security said Dylan is subject to expedited removal. Mayor Adams declines to get involved in students' deportation case. Mayor Eric Adams is declining to get involved in Dylan's case. I wonder why that is. It's almost like Trump had just, the DOJ had, I forget what the legal term was. They basically dropped his charges, but they was still in a way where they could be easily brought back up. So they have this guy by the balls, Mayor Eric Adams, who's also very corrupt. And of course, he's in bed with the Trump administration to basically, so he would stay out of immigration efforts. He wouldn't interfere with ICE. He wouldn't give them any problems. That was pretty much the deal. So I wonder why he doesn't want to get involved. I just wondered if, given your relationship with Tom Homan, if you might be able to talk to him and review this case. CB News New York political reporter Marcia Kramer asked, well, we have to be extremely careful because the New York City Council laws, I'm limited on what coordination I can do. And so sometimes there's a blessing and it's a curse. We don't know what happened at that hearing, Adams said. Yes, Eric Adams, because you are well known for following the laws. Reporter Michael Elson Rooney with our media partners at Chalkbeat spoke with Dylan's mom, who told him she's also worried because Dylan has been sick with stomach problems. Oh, great. We're going to deport another sick person. She said he told her that he hasn't received medical treatment so far. He's been moved to 4 different detention centers at least in the past 5 or 6 days. Depraved. Depraved. This administration is fucking sick. Holy hell. And if you support this, you're also sick. And you like need to get your head checked. I just don't know how you can look at this and just dehumanize these people to a point where you look at this and you're like, hell yeah, bitch. It's scary because I'm an immigrant, one student said. I think it's difficult. It's very scary. Another student said, Adam said students should feel safe going to school. Shut the fuck up. I want to be extremely clear that did not happen in the school. We don't coordinate with ICE on civil enforcement, so you know what we know. Yeah. And then I guess a little silver lining to all this. New York City high schoolers protest Trump admin policies on education and immigration. Several hundred New York City high school students walked out of class Tuesday to protest the Trump administration's threats to immigration students in higher education. Around noon, students from at least 25 schools, that's crazy, including the Bronx High School of Science, Stuyvesant High School, and Frank Sinatra School of the Arts, descended on Union Square Park with a shared message to protect democracy and oppose recent actions by the federal government. The teens took turns passing around a megaphone behind signs that read, "We the students," and "Protect our schools." They shared their fears as well as their hopes for the future. Some sported red, white, and blue war paint under their eyes. At least one student wrapped himself in an American flag. I love that shit, man. I love that shit. If you're protesting, you should have an American flag, and you should be looking patriotic as fuck. So that when these pigs are trying to lock you up and force you away, they're locking up the real patriot, the actual people who care about this country. Because everyone who is supporting this shit, you're just, you're not American. You're not American. This is not what our country is. And supporting this shit is just gross. Like, these people protesting this, they are the real Americans. They believe in the Constitution. They believe in just basic human decency. Like it's almost like back in the McCarthy era where that person was just like, I don't remember who it was, if it was a judge or another like senator or something, is like, have you no decency? That's how I feel about anyone at this point who is still supporting MAGA and the Republican Party. Because, yeah, I'll leave it at that. And a break from a standard practice at public school, a public school spokeswoman would not provide an initial estimate of how many of their students walked out of class. Some organizers believe it could have been more if not for a chilling effect from federal action. I have friends who really support what we're doing here today and helped us make posters or really wanted to be involved, but they couldn't come today because they're not citizens and they rightfully don't feel safe standing up and protesting, and that is unacceptable in the United States of America. The walkout, which had been in the works for the last couple of months, happened to take place less than 24 hours after news broke of the first known New York City high school student detained by federal immigration authorities that we just covered in the last article. In the second Trump administration, the story of Ellis Prep student Dylan, 20, alarmed students who learned of his arrest the next day. I don't understand how any high school student could sit around and let that happen. It's a stain on all of our moral conscience, said Naomi Benar, a junior at St. Anne. She worried it could happen to any immigrant family with shaky legal status, noting these things are not executed with logic. They are random and destructive. I wouldn't say they're random, but they are definitely destructive. And yeah, they are with logic. It's not like they're like accidentally doing this or randomly doing this. This is targeted. And we've already seen they don't give a shit if you are just straight undocumented. They don't give a shit if you are a green card holder. They don't give a shit if you're on a student visa. They don't give a shit if you already have temporary protected status. They don't give a shit if you already have asylum status. They just don't care. As I alluded to in another video, the whole idea of checks and balances and other branches checking each other, that was all just an illusion. It was an illusion. And it was all built on just good faith actors. And as soon as you have good faith or non-good faith actors take over our government, they can just say, yeah, I don't care about the Constitution. I don't care about the laws. What are you going to do about it? Bernard added that she was motivated to join the protest because of federal cuts to higher education. Defunding universities is not protecting Jews. She said, if anything, it's putting us more at risk and more unsafe. That's one of the reasons that drove me out here. Nomi Solzman, a sophomore at Schools of the Future, raised the fact that she and her friends will be eligible to vote in the next presidential election. To actually educate yourself is really, really important, especially to me. Somson, did I say her name? Somson said, I don't want to treat it like a trend. I want to be aware about the threat of the removal of habeas corpus, about the increased demonizing of the increased demonizing of illegal immigrants. In a statement, school's Chancellor Melissa Aviles-Ramos said the students should remain in school, though expressed her respect more generally for students voicing their opinions. We are committed to supporting every child and family, regardless of immigration status, she said, and we respect the voice of students as they speak out on difficult issues of our time and advocate for their peers. Any student who left school before their dismissal time will be marked absent from class, according to the statement, which should not threaten any disciplinary action against the protesters. Leor, a 10th grader at High School of American Studies at Lehman College, who did not give her last name, was most concerned that while she cannot yet vote, she is still significantly impacted by the actions of the Trump administration. While most people, she said, are just sitting back and watching, we need to let it be known that if the adults aren't going to do something about it, then we will, because it's still our country. Oh, god damn. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. She's cooking. She's cooking. And it was just even more depressing that when these high schoolers are more articulate, more intellectually curious, and more willing to just see things for what they are and take action is insane. Every American should be like these high schoolers, willing to stand up for what's right, willing to be intellectually curious and do the research and actually hold education as something important. Wow. Okay. Shout out to all these kids who went out and protested. It warms my heart in a weird way, but it also saddens me that we've gotten to this point that high school kids have to focus on upholding the basic fundamentals of our country instead of focusing on their education. But I'm glad to realize that at least some of the next generation has a fucking conscience and a brain. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below, and if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.